Hello everyone, welcome to part 6 of reading through my journal from living in Japan. This next one, it used to be tough for me to read through. I don't know if it will still be, so we'll see how this goes. Back on March 11th of 2011, Japan was hit with a 9.0 magnitude earthquake and the tsunami followed, and we were there for that. So we were further south from where the tsunami hit. We were in Tokyo. The tsunami hit up in Sendai mostly and then kind of down the coast. So we were okay from the tsunami portion, but the earthquake portion we felt. Leading up to the 9.0 earthquake, we had some small earthquakes. I had never felt them before, so it was kind of cool when they were, 3s, 4s, just a little tremor. And this one was so unlike anything else. So I have my tea. Let's get reading. March 12th, 2011. Yesterday was Thursday. The day started out as a normal Friday at school. That morning I had onigiri making, so I missed pastoral care and PE. We would have once every month or two, you'd rotate, and a couple of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders would go to make onigiri for homeless in, can't remember the prefixture, but close by our school. Then I had math, humanities, English, then art. We had about 10 minutes left of art, and it was time to go home. We were making pottery at the time. Pottery at the time was our unit, presents from the past. Then the ground began to shake very lightly for about 4 seconds. A few seconds later, the ground started to shake very intensely. We all rushed under the tables. There were 2 tables that we got under. One of the tables had 9 people under it, including our art teacher, and the other had just a couple of us. The ground continued to shake violently for about 3 minutes. Then our principal came on the intercom, saying, "Please remain under your tables for another minute." So we all did. Then Des came back on about 30 seconds later, telling us to get out from under the tables, quickly pack up, and get on the bus if you take one. So we all did. When we were going to pack up, we walked past the teacher's lounge. Plates, glasses, bowls, everything fell on the ground from the cupboards and were shattered to pieces. One thing I forgot was when we were in the art room and the earthquake was happening, pottery was falling off the shelves and shattering to pieces. The noise is something I won't forget, of plates and pottery falling to the ground and shattering. Anyway, I ran to the bus with my friend Avery. When we were in the driveway, we were waiting behind cars, then we had a small aftershock. It was pretty small compared to the big one we just experienced. So I got off the bus, walked over to our building, and I didn't want to go upstairs because I didn't know if Mom was upstairs or not. I'm forgetting something very important in this. A lot of things were out of power, so our elevators in our building were not working. So we had to take the stairs, and I was not prepared to do that. So I went to 7-Eleven with Billy and his mom and his sister. I got a vitamin Aquarius. At about 4:10, I went to the bus stop to pick up Sophie because she had an after-school class that day. And so for some reason, I don't remember if they stayed after school or if she just didn't make it to the bus in time or what happened, but she was not on the bus with me leaving school. I went to the bus stop to pick up Sophie. I was waiting the bus at the T-Cube Roppongi for 30 minutes. Sophie wasn't on the bus, so I started to walk home. I ran into Mom on an overpass, and I told her that Sophie was not on the bus. Then Mom emailed Dad because there was no cell service, and towers were down, cell wasn't working. Dad had ran from his office to our school to pick up Sophie. Then from there, they walked all the way home. No trains were running, and Dad couldn't take a taxi because he didn't have any cash. So we met up with Soph and Dad about 6 floors up in our apartment. We didn't want to climb up 24 floors, so we went back down to try to find dinner. All of the places were obviously closed, all of the restaurants. So instead, we went to 7-Eleven to grab some drinks and a couple snacks. After that, we went back home and climbed up 24 flights of stairs. We stopped at the 16th floor for a small snack and a break. Then we continued to climb up to our apartment. The rest of the night, it was a little scary. Small aftershocks throughout the night. I left an important part out. The earthquake was an 8.0, one of the biggest in the world. I don't know what that says. It was a fun day. So, as you can tell, it still gets me even to this day. That was 12 and a half years ago. As a 10-year-old, it was the most frightening day of my life. But then at the same time, it was so amazing to see. When I got off the bus and I was just, waiting for my family, for people. When you go to 7-Eleven, everybody was Japanese people are very respectful in general, but everybody was purchasing one water and one snack to make sure that everybody else had some behind them or, who might come in later. And that was it warms your heart in a panic situation. So there were moments where you'd see people who were a bit panicked and scared and, couldn't get in touch with their family like me. But at the same time, everyone was so calm. They just take it as it is, and it is what it is. And everyone, I can't explain it. I was obviously panicked and worried too, and I couldn't text my family. I knew where we lived, so that was fine. I knew how to get there. But my sister not being on the bus coming home with me, and then her not showing up on the after school bus, I panicked. So I asked we have a bus monitor basically. So we have a bus driver and then our bus monitor who makes sure the kids are on the bus and they get off at the right stop. I love them. He made us origami all the time. I cannot remember his name, but I loved him. I asked him, I was like, hey, is Sophie on the bus? And he said, no, she didn't get on the bus. So I was okay at first. I was like, that's so weird. Why wouldn't she be on the bus? I wonder if she's already with somebody. And then walking back to our apartment building, I ran into Mom and Taylor on the overpass and I just broke down in tears. Not knowing where your family is, not being able to communicate with them. I was so lucky I ran into them when I did, because otherwise, I don't know. I would have gone to the building and waited, but it would have been so much worse than it actually was. And then the aftershocks, there was one immediately following that was a 7.2. So that is still so big. But then throughout the night, there were a couple more ranging from 4 to 6. And on the 24th floor of our building, the buildings in Japan are designed for earthquakes. They sit on a fault line. They know what they're gonna have to go through. So they're engineered to bounce. And so you'd be lying in bed at night and you just feel your bed start bouncing. And at first it's pretty aggressive. And then once the bouncing is over and the building realizes what it's doing, it starts to sway. The swaying on the 24th floor, out of, I think we had 28 floors, 29 floors of our building, is frightening. I trusted it. It happened a couple times before that, super small. So I knew what it felt like. But the huge swaying, it was so frightening as a child. Then we moved to Colorado in 2012, summer, fall of 2012. And for years following that, I'd be sitting on the couch in our loft upstairs and I would start bouncing. And I would ask my family, did you guys feel that? Are you guys bouncing? And they're like, no. So the PTSD was real. I didn't think it would happen. This day sometimes it's not as bad because it's been 12 years. I got over the couch bouncing probably 5 or 6 years ago. But when you're on a bridge and you have a semi coming over, it's heavy and it makes the bridge bounce. I get a little nervous and sometimes I'll start crying, but I don't have it when I'm just sitting still anymore. So I'm thankful for that. I think I'll stop the video here. I think I covered everything I wanted to. We read the journal entry. I gave you some extra pizzazz to the story by just telling you how I feel now. The next video is a lot more light There will be a lot of photos to include after the earthquake. It was just a few weeks before spring break. We decided to take our spring break a little bit earlier because school was canceled for an extra week, I think. So the next one is our spring break of 2011. So thank you all for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate being vulnerable, and I hope that you guys all appreciate it too. Get to know a little bit about me and my sensitive side. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.